The People Playbook is for professional business owners and leaders who understand business rises and falls on people. You will hear practical, real-world conversations on clear leadership, smart hiring, and building strong teams. All formulas for retention. Get ready to hear your professional peers and industry experts as they discuss lessons learned and best practices. Get that journal out. You'll be taking lots of notes.
Welcome to the People Playbook, where we identify common talent challenges and offer solutions and best practices. This is Coach Cora, and thank you for joining us today as we discuss the most important part of your business, people. The product you create and or the service you deliver at the quality standards you set in place relies on people. We are here to help with the often challenging aspect of attaining, retaining, developing, and leading the talent you need to run your business. Today, we will explore the orientation experience and onboarding process. With us is Jeana Cheney, the partner manager at BambooHR. She is here to share her insights and her experience that is very important and her very important aspect of employee retention. How we bring people in, how we prepare them for success. Jeana's background in user experience, building trust-based partnerships, and translating capabilities into outcomes provides very valuable insight as we explore the onboarding process and its connection to retention. BambooHR is an HR ecosystem that serves over 34,000 customers across 190 countries. It is designed to free people up to do great work. With this breadth of service and her experience at BambooHR, Jeana sure has a lot to share with us, and she's coming to us from the beautiful state of Utah, but you'll hear her little accent that comes from growing up in Mississippi. Jeana, welcome.
Hey, thanks so much, Cora. It's so good to be here. Thank you. As you've mentioned, I've been at BambooHR for a while now, probably in tech years, a lifetime, so a little over 7 years. I came here because I genuinely believe that work can be better for people. And the HR and the tasks that we do should not feel like something that you're surviving. It should actually help you do your job. I've been all over BambooHR here. I started out in our CX team working in support and then implementation for a few years. And I love now the opportunity that I get to work with a lot more HR consultants and professionals and really diving into finding the things that matter most when it comes to helping their teams succeed.
Thank you for that. And I really love what you called out there, Jeana, is using technology to free us up to do the people work, the good work, that we're not trying to replace that touch and that contact. But when we can do some of those tasks through technology and smooth out that process for a better experience, it frees us up to do great work and connect to people. I love that call out. So let's get started, Jeana. One of the challenges that I know I see, and I'd love to hear about your experience of businesses and your customers and businesses that you have regular contact with. Most businesses, HRs, leaders understand the importance of setting people up for success. And they understand that that relates to orientation, day one orientation, and the assimilation and onboarding process. But things get in the way. And I often see the from hire to performance in 7 seconds. You're here, we're hired, get to work. Do you ever see that?
Absolutely. I've seen it in my own career of over 35 years. I see it in the people that I'm working with as well as family members and others. So absolutely see that. They do want to get you to work as quickly as possible, but we do see some things that break down when it comes to that. Employees don't have a good experience, and then you end up having to do the process all over again.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting that you say that. We have to do the process over. In the last few years, we have seen this new process emerge called re-onboarding, where companies are going back and making it a part of their HR process and their development. Well, we have to re-onboard people. And that's symptomatic, isn't it?
It absolutely is.
Yeah. And when we're bringing people in, how does, from a user experience, how does having a very clean and smooth hiring process contribute to the overall onboarding process?
Cora, I think it makes all the difference in the world when an employee can come in and have a really smooth entry into a workplace, feel welcomed into a team, and have everything that they need to be successful from the beginning. When we're talking about that, I think about the processes of everyone has to fill out paperwork. I don't love forms. I hate them. Mm-hmm. I hate doing them while someone's waiting for me. Mm-hmm. It stresses me out.
Absolutely.
But then also, does the manager know that they're coming? What do they know about the employee? If they need technology, a computer, a username, an email, are those things set up well in advance? Or do you have the possibility of having someone come, say you're running a store and you have, I can put them on a register within the first hour. Like, that's ideal. But you have to be really intentional to be able to do something like that by providing the right tools and having everything organized from the very beginning. It's not something that you as a business owner or an HR leader starts on that employee's first day. Mm-hmm. It takes intentionality from the very start when you're planning to hire that person.
I agree with you, Jeana. It's so true. And day one, they come in, they're excited, and then we inundate them both with paperwork and information. And we just do this info dump on them. Sign here, listen to this, do this. They're not going to take any of that away. They're not absorbing any of that.
No, and they'll feel overwhelmed. Mm-hmm. And that first day will become a blur to them. And they'll be like, who was that person I met? What do they do in relation to what I do? Do I need to remember their name? And then how do I log into that?
Yeah.
All of those things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have worked for those companies and worked with those companies that have, hey, here's your hiring orientation. Here's what you need to know. Here's what you need to sign. But the rest of it, the culture piece and the people and the processes, I've seen companies that will wait for a month till you're there, you've done some things, you have your bearings, and then they come in because they just have more context. So there are different ways to bring people into the organization versus we're just going to dump everything day one. And the other thing, Jeana, I'd love to visit with you about, because I know you've experienced this and seen this. Let's say a company uses, let's say, BambooHR. Hey, we have this great hiring process and a very smooth orientation. And now we need to assimilate them into their role and into the organization. Even when we have a great process, what about the managers and their role in the assimilation can get in the way, have you seen?
Just managers knowing a little bit about them will go a really long way. I love how we use the get to know you questions to kind of introduce the employee to everyone on the first day. But having the opportunity, I think back to my own first day at BambooHR a little over 7 years ago. I walked in the front door, met the reception at the front desk. We're walking through the hall, and the owner of the company walks up to me, shakes my hand. Hi, Jeana. How was your drive from Ephraim? And I was like, are you stalking me? Right?
Are you stalking me? Did you follow me to work?
Experience. But then also, keeping in mind at that time, BambooHR had a little over 250 employees. Mm-hmm. We're much bigger now. But, knowing that he would take the time to check on me, that he knew where I was from, that experience was absolutely amazing. And it transferred through the entire experience, meeting my manager, meeting the person I was going to be sitting by during my training. It felt so personal, like I was a real person and not just the new hire person that may or may not last.
Yeah. And I've worked with those companies that had those great processes and that special first day. And even in HR and running the learning function, I had this beautiful process all set up. Here's what their day 1 looks like. Here's what their day 2 looks like. Here's what their week 1 looks like. Here's week 2. And I task the manager, their hiring manager, their direct manager, with managing that checklist. And what happens is they have pressure to get their job done. They don't have time, and it somehow goes the wayside when that manager doesn't have the skills or the communication to make sure that all of those things get done, this beautiful process that we set up. Do you ever see that happening?
I have seen it with a lot of companies over the years. And the way that we encourage you to manage that type of thing is to have a really clear, organized checklist that's broken down by, who is managing that. HR is going to have the tasks that they do. The manager is going to have the tasks that they do. Hopefully they're also supplying a mentor that they can give a few tasks to just to check in, right? IT, if there's, technology involved, they're going to have some tasks. All of those things load in BambooHR, for example, into a wonderful page right on the employee profile. And there, the manager, the admin, people who have access to look at that will be able to go in and just check things off. As they are completing them, they'll also have it in their inbox when it's assigned to them. So it helps to streamline things. Those things can even happen inside a mobile app. So if that manager's on the go and they're like, okay, took Brenda to her first day lunch with the manager, check, that's done. Right from my mobile app, I can do that. So, we're all very busy. It makes perfect sense. But having tools and being able to do that and collaborate without that manager saying, oh, I forgot to call Brad and tell him to turn on that email address. The system can help take care of that.
That's right.
Which then lets you be a person.
Yeah. This is Coach Cora on the People Playbook on 9:30 a.m. The Answer. We're talking about onboarding and new hire hiring and how that contributes to retention. With us today is Jeana Cheney, the partner manager at BambooHR. And we're talking about some of the barriers that businesses have, even when they have a great software platform, a great process, they've planned it all out. Yet when employees are coming in, they're not getting the experience, that user experience that the plan was trying to deliver to. When we come back from this break, Jeana and I will jump into what are some best practices and solutions that businesses can do to help both the new employee who wants to be successful and will help those managers and leaders in helping with that and contributing to that experience. Retention problems often begin on day 1. That's why onboarding matters more than ever. BambooHR helps you deliver a smooth, reliable onboarding experience that builds clarity, confidence, and connection early on. When onboarding works, retention follows. That's bambooable. So, Jeana, we know that there's this challenge of bringing people into the organization, and that in order for them to be successful, we have to invest the time and the energy and the planning to make that happen. One of the things that you and I have had a lot of conversations about is having those processes in place that create the opportunity for a shared responsibility for the onboarding. That if I give that new employee some control and accountability over their onboarding, they can see their checklist, they can see the things they need to accomplish, they can see specifically what they need to do to progress forward in their assimilation and understanding of both their role and the organization. How do you see those helping both the leaders and the employee?
I'd like to start with the employee experience, Cora. Honestly, they're already walking into such a vulnerable situation on that first day. Having them be able to, again, as I said before, having them be able to fill out all the documentation, have all the busy work stuff done before they ever start is going to make a huge difference in their experience. That way they're able to start making meaningful relationships with the people that they'll be working with right away.
Mm-hmm.
Also, when they have the clarity of looking into their inbox to see, okay, I have to have these few other little things done by the end of my first week, that makes a big deal for them. When they understand, I'm going to have check-ins at 30, 60, and 90 days, they know, okay, I'm able then as an employee to gauge how I'm doing, but it also helps me to communicate with others to make sure I'm doing all the right things at the right time.
Yeah. That's for the employee.
Yeah, for the employees.
To your point, from a user experience, if I'm showing up every day not sure what's going to happen or what I'm supposed to be doing to learning, I know I don't know everything. I know I want to learn everything. I know I want to do a good job. What am I supposed to be doing next to get there? Having that checklist, being able to visibly see it and see the progress that I'm making and being able to have control really impacts and influences my experience. And then the manager, what do they get to do?
Yeah, the manager is then able to really focus on the success of the employee and not so much all those check boxes, right? Yes, they're part of it, but being able to be more present with them because they're focused, because they're organized, they know that those certain checkboxy things are done. They're then able to be right there. Again, highly recommending mentors, but building the relationship of trust with that employee will be so important.
Yeah, I agree with you. And we've talked before, one of the big challenges is as frontline leaders, middle managers, even some of our upper level managers don't know how to assimilate somebody into an organization and into a role. But when we have some guidance, here's what they are tasked with, here's the path, here's what they need to do. Your role is to support and make sure they're able to do those things as they move forward in their personal onboarding plan. Removing barriers, making connections. And to your point, that connection piece, having that checklist or that plan that includes the on-the-job or onboarding, that I have a person to talk to, I have a person to go meet with, I have a person that's identified as who I ask questions of. Having that mentor, those contacts, scheduling time with people. Hey, I'm supposed to come shadow you. I'm supposed to learn this X from you. It's really connecting them into the people of the organization and already building those relationships, which we know really contributes to retention. Do you see this a lot when you are working with customers, that need for that connection piece?
Absolutely, we do. And a big part of this in the first 30 to 90 days, really the focus is on removing ambiguity. In that first month of employment for that new employee, leaders should focus on clear expectations and those frequent check-ins. By 60 days, it's about receiving feedback about that employee from others, which we have some really great tools to do that with, and then helping the employee understand how their work connects to the bigger picture. By 90 days, people want confirmation that they're on the right track and a sense of where they're growing and how their journey at that organization is going to go. When leaders prioritize clarity early, then confidence follows not only for the employee, but also for the leader for that employee. And then commitment will naturally grow from there.
I absolutely. That commitment grows out of, I am feeling confident in my competence and I feel supported, and I start building that commitment through the relationship. It's all so interconnected. And so that guidance, we're helping that guidance happen. We're helping that support happen. And we all know that first 90 days, our employees and our retention numbers are most at risk. And so the onboarding is important because so many employees at that 90 days, either they leave or they disengage. So from your experience, you've worked with so many companies and worked with so many consultants like myself. what do we benefit from, even if they stay, if they disengage in that first 90 days and are frustrated? How does that impact the rest of the whole next year? And what will that year look like if we're able to support them and get them where they need to be?
Being able to support them will change the whole entire experience. It can be difficult to be a new employee. It can be hard for them to feel like they're in the right place. We talked about removing ambiguity, making sure that they have, access and the view to see where they're going in the company. I would say with regards to that, it really means so much to the whole entire organization when there is a clear view.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I would agree with that.
I would just say it can impact everything, depending on the size of organization you have, what the team is doing. They can tell if someone's not picking up and carrying their part, but there are really great ways that you can engage with them. There are some great surveys. We have like a well-being check that you can do across the organization for all employees. There's also an opportunity to do a survey just to kind of see what are the things that the employees think that the company does well and how they can improve. It's a great way to get that feedback as well. Those are both surveys that are more anonymous, but you do get a really good idea of things. Yeah. Of how things are going that way.
I love pulse checks. This is the People Playbook with Coach Cora here on 9:30 a.m. The Answer, and we are talking with Jeana Cheney, the partner manager at BambooHR, as she shares her insights around the importance and best practices of orientation, first day orientation, and onboarding. Jeana, I'm curious, we have many businesses listening today that either own small businesses or leaders that are working in businesses. And many leaders that I've talked to, and probably you as well, certainly understand the importance of the day one orientation and assimilation. And they do have challenges, and they want to overcome some of those challenges. And we've outlined a few ways to help our frontline managers and other managers and how to set up a process. What is something that you would like to offer to our listeners that says, hey, if anything else, here's what's most important when you're bringing new people into your organizations? What would that be for you?
I would just say I'd advise against saying we'll figure it out when they get here. Please don't do that. Please have a plan. Of course, I'm going to recommend that you keep things as organized as you can, but mostly keep the people part. It's the relationships that go so far. Having a great day, a great first day, a great first week, sure, those things are important. Even the first 3 months, those are important too. But you can't drop your employees like a hot rock and expect them to just take off and do all the things. They need to have that feedback. They need to know that their success is important to you as a manager, as a business owner, and they need to know where they fit in the organization. Just be careful when it comes to ambiguity. Try to have as clear communication as possible.
Well said. Well said. That was such a good point. And I have seen, even when we don't mean to, when we drop those employees in and we end up short-circuiting some of their training, those gaps show up later. They absolutely show up. I remember having a leader was telling me it took her 2.5 hours every week to do payroll. And when we started being diagnostic and asking questions, how did this happen? Because payroll should be a 15-minute task. Because she missed the training. The trainer that was supposed to train her had to get up and go handle something else. And she never came back and got that training on how to use the payroll system. And so she was going into every one of the employees and individually every day. She just elongated her process. And when that's that diagnostic piece, like, oh, we missed that. And that performance will always show up. So thank you for saying that. Keeping employees is what contributes to a healthier bottom line and market share through quality, consistency, and service. To minimize the time and effort it can take, Focus your efforts on processes that engage the employee in their own onboarding, giving them ownership of their growth. In this, managers are provided the on-the-job training and guidance managers need to help assimilate new employees. Using those on-the-job activities connects them to their peers and to their organization. Creating the opportunity for the employee to experience progress is key. Promote and illuminate progress, minimize opportunities for failure, grow confidence, not frustration. Thank you for joining us today, and we hope to see you next week here on 9:30 a.m. The Answer at 2 p.m. on Saturday for another chapter in the People Playbook.
Thank you for listening to the People Playbook. For more information, Coach Cora can be found on LinkedIn and at CoachCora.com. Let's meet here next Saturday, 2 p.m. on 9:30 a.m. The Answer.